Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
We're live? All righty. Okay. Looks like everyone's here but Valerie. All right. Well, thank you all for sending me your weekly reflection, which really gave me some good insight into each of your own perspectives on your life as it currently stands, and lets me also know kind of what I need to add today to our session. And thank you for those of you who were able to do the Wheel of Life. I want to spend a couple of minutes talking about that Wheel of Life. Some of you were able to chart it with the points, and then either coloring it in or shading it in, and being able to look at it. So those of you who are not able to do that, I really want you to shade that in, and you just need to print that sheet out, and then chart it if it's a 0, a 2, or a 5, and then connect that line. And that's really where we get that helicopter view. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's do check-ins. What we like to do in Girls Empower sometimes is we ask the girls to give their high of the week and their low of the week. And so we're going to start with that. And Kathy, I'm going to go ahead and let you go first.
Okay, let's see. My high of the week was, I think I got an A on the test that I took last Thursday that I studied really hard for. And then my low of the week was, I'm trying to think, not getting the job that I interviewed for.
Okay, all right. That can be difficult. Do you have a backup? Do you have backup resources and jobs that you're looking at?
I'm applying to a lot, but we'll see how that goes.
Okay, good. Are you including Girls Empower on there?
Yes.
Good, good. All right, well, use me as a referral. Even though I've known you a short period of time, sometimes that will help. And I obviously can talk about your dedication and your ability to show up on time and consistency and things like that, and your passion. So all that really helps.
Perfect.
How about you, Christine? How about your high and your low? I can't hear you.
Hello?
Hi.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, sorry about that. So I
That's
think my high this week was that I got chosen by my university to represent for this week's public speaking competition to be held outside the school. I'm not sure which location we're going to go, but that's my high. And my low is that I had a lot of exams, so I was very stressed and I had so many things to do, but it was okay. I was able to overcome.
good. Very good. Do you know what your topic is going to be at your public speaking competition?
Not yet.
Representation?
Not yet. It's actually an impromptu speaking competition, so I will only know the topic once I'm there. So I have 3 minutes to prepare and probably 5 to 6 minutes speak.
Well, that's really exciting. Nothing like putting all the pressure on you, right?
Yeah.
That'll be very exciting. Well, good for you. Congratulations on that. Genesis, how about you? Your high and your low, please.
My high would be that all of my textbooks finally came in, so now I can read for class. And my low would be I had like 6 meetings to go to this week for academic advising and financial. And that was kind of a drag.
I can understand those appointments that you need to be at, but you don't really want to be at.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, good luck with those.
Thanks.
All right, Carly.
My high of the week was that on Saturday I didn't have to work and I went to a wedding and had a lot of fun, so it was a good relaxation day.
Uh-huh.
And then my low of the week was probably Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I was just super busy and like back-to-back things that I needed to do, so I was pretty stressed, but I wasn't late to anything, which is good.
Well, good for you. It sounds like you're able to find the positive even amongst that chaos. I like that. That's a lot of what we talk about in Girls in Power, and as you can see as you do week 1, 2, 3, and 4, that it's really about how our mindset is and how we choose to look at things and how we choose to handle things and respond versus reacting. So kudos to you on that. Isha, how about you?
Gosh, I've been thinking. I can't even think. Um, High of the week would be, I don't know, shopping maybe, because I generally don't go shopping. Like, I'm very anti-shopping, but this time when I went shopping, I was like relaxed, and I was getting, when you start getting stuff for yourself and it fits you well, and you're like, oh yes, this is happening, something is happening. So
Right.
I think that was my high. And low, seriously, I can't think of anything. Would be, I was actually not feeling well from past week, just like that normal cold and cough, and I was just lying, lazy, and that's why I didn't email you as soon as you emailed me back.
That's okay.
So I think that was my low.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing, and we're hoping you're feeling better. Valerie, how about you? Welcome back, Valerie.
Hi, sorry, I was confused. I get too many emails about what to click, so I'm getting the hang of it.
No worries. No problem.
My high is that I just got the news that a dear friend of mine and potential business partner, we've worked together twice, is moving back to town from Bend, Oregon. She's been gone for 7 years. She's moving back, and she will be my neighbor and my friend and catalyst for possible business ventures. We shall see.
That's awesome.
So
we all love that.
Yeah, I've been very encouraging her because she just made the decision. All the stars aligned, and it made it so that it's like she thought, well, I think I should come back, and I encouraged her, and she's made the decision. So that was kind of a high. My low, and I've written you a couple private messages, and you've seen my paperwork, so you know I've had some difficulty this whole last week. It's been kind of a low for me. Difficulty with my daughter, not able to live up to responsibilities and needing to move out again. She keeps moving in and out. We have an ongoing issue with that.
Okay.
She's moving out this time, and to a property her dad owns. So, but it was very unhappy, and it was a very hurtful experience,
Oh, yep.
So anyway, those were that combined over several days has been
Draining.
Difficult low. Yes, exactly.
Yes, very draining. Yeah, having 3 girls myself, and one just reached 18. It's quite a tricky balance of standing my ground but being respectful, and then her being respectful, and trying to continue to encourage her to grow but let go as a mom of those concerns and worries. So my high would be that all my girls were home this weekend, which is kind of funny because by last night in bed I was thinking, all right, I'm ready for a vacation already, just from the weekend. Being there.
A lot, 3 young girls are a lot,
Yeah, being there for all of them and their capacities, being a taxi driver, listening emotionally, and preparing. My oldest daughter had her annual IEP, and so, that's just the way it goes. I love the blessing of being able to raise them and be their mom and have that relationship with them and build that and fail and work on it, right? But it's extremely exhausting. So I think there's a saying that goes, the harder things in life or the best things in life or something like that. The things we work for, right, are hard, but they're great. Okay, so this week, have you all had a chance to look at the workbook Be Real, Be You? Week 2?
Yeah.
All right, great.
Yeah.
So I want you to remember that in regards to your wheel of life, like I said, Valerie, you may have missed this. It may not even apply to you, but that it's really important that you follow the instructions. If you have any questions, you can ask them, independently of me at any time. You can always email me. That you fill in that wheel of life, not just with your labels of which aspect or which pie represents life for you and what that specifies, but also that you graph it out and you can shade it in so that you can get a nice illustration. So the whole idea is that you're zooming out and you're like a helicopter hovering over this sheet of paper, your life, so to speak, right, in a wheel, in a shape of a wheel and a pie chart, so that you can kind of see, and most likely, more often than not, when we do this, we can recognize, where we are already feeling we're lacking, where we need to do more, where we need to get better at, where we realize we may be spending way too much time, and therefore our wheel is off balance. So I really want you to use this to your advantage. It's not for it to make you feel bad. It's not for you to feel guilty. It's just to make it aware so that you can, decide, because you all have free will. You all get to make, you're all responsible for the choices that you make, but the wheel is designed to give you that view of, okay, yeah, that's kind of what I was feeling. I need to work a little harder in here. I need to look for some balance in these areas, because ideally, when we have the balance in our life, that is when we are able to handle curveballs in life, challenges that present themselves that we were not prepared for necessarily. But if we have more balance, meaning that you're taking time for yourself, that you're spending enough time in community with your friends, your family, your church, or whomever that may be, your women friends, and that you're spending, quality time and efforts towards, a combination of work and school versus your passion, meaning your hobbies or extracurricular things that make you feel good, and that rest is critical. So ideally, you want, obviously, I'm sure I figured out all of those pie pieces to be as equal as possible, right? Not 4 things out of 5 and a couple things, 3 things out of 2. Right? Those 2s are to illustrate to you to raise the bar a little bit in those areas, put some effort, use that wheel of life as we go through and talk about goals. We don't get to the SMART goal until I think week 3, and you're going to take that wheel of life, you're going to then transfer it onto a SMART goal, which I'll help you with, and then you're going to create a vision board. So someone had asked me this week, I'm looking forward to seeing the SMART goals and how that's being used, if it's used for short-term or long-term. SMART goals are really good to be used as a stepping stone. I mean, you certainly could use it for a long-term goal, but that's really what your vision is. Your vision board will be about, is about everything in life that you want to achieve with balance, right? The SMART goal will be used for some short-term or medium-term goals. Think of them like a stepping stone. Or in other words, sometimes what a lot of us entrepreneurs, business people talk about is we have a bigger picture or a bigger goal, and we want to chunk it all the way down. And so that SMART goal method, which we will get to. If any of you want it in advance, I can certainly send it to you in advance, or you can get it off the internet. So, and then just remember to add an I for inspiration, meaning that your goals should always be coming from, what you're most passionate about, and have that balance between a practical thing, but also something that you're loving and you're enjoying. A lot of you are in school right now, so a lot of your goals are going to be comprised of things around being in school and graduating or getting a job, right? But just keep in mind that SMART goal method can be utilized in any area of your life, okay? So what we're going to do, though, before we get to SMART goals is we're going to expand on and getting you to really hone in and think about and get more detailed to what really is making you happy. What do you really want in life? And also bringing awareness to how you look at things in your life currently. So I think if you can turn to page, I don't know why this is not even showing. Turn to page, attracting what you want, page 4. This exercise that we're going to do next is to help start to illuminate your goals into to a more visual aspect and representation that has detail behind it, meaning that you'll be able to, once you do this exercise, really connect at a deeper level rather than just on the surface like, oh, I need to graduate, right? But really, what do these things mean to me? So you can read that at your leisure. So first of all, pull up page 5, attracting what you want. I want you to, if you don't have this sheet already printed, you can just use a piece of paper and then transfer it to your workbook later. And hopefully you guys are keeping this in a workbook fashion so that you can, or on your computer if possible, to have to look back to as your life, evolves and changes, and also so that you can pull them out and use them at any other time in your life. But this circle represents what you do want. This will help you get a clear vision on your goals overall. And what we're going to put in your circle is obviously inside the circle is everything that you want. Remember, the sky is the limit, no constraints. You can be practical, of course, but I really want you to think about and allow yourself to feel what you want. I don't want you to restrict yourself by having any self-doubt or any fears in your head or any negative thinking right now. I really want you to write down what you truly want and you truly desire. This can be in professional, this could be in school, this can be in your personal world. So it's everything. Then on the outside of the circle, you're going to write what you don't want. And we're not going to take a super long time to do this exercise. In other words, I want to get through some of the other things. So just start writing, freestyle creatively, and just let it come out and take about 2 minutes. And then we're going to talk a little bit about that and move on. And just, you can guys listen to me while you guys are doing this as I'm background noise or something. A lot of times we focus on what we don't want. And the problem with us spending or resonating time in that negative place or what we don't want in life, unfortunately, when we start talking about the law of attraction, you become more aware of how powerful not only your thoughts are, but your words are. So if you're focusing so much on what you don't want all the time, right, you're going to actually attract and bring those things into your world. So part of why we're doing this is a stepping stone into your bigger goals, into your vision for your life for the next, say 3 to 6 months or year, that you really identify clearly what it is you do want, which will then translate onto the vision board and into your goal setting. I put it in your room. All right, so I'm going to just call on a couple people. We don't all have to share because we're going to have plenty of opportunities to share throughout the rest of the hour. Carly, how about you share with the group a few things that you've put in your circle of things that you do want to attract and achieve, and then a few things that you don't want in your life.
Okay. I put to get married and to get a job that I'm proud of and that I love and I'm happy with, to have children, and I also put to stay connected with my brothers and sister as we get older.
Great. And then what do you not want?
I don't want to be unhappy in life, and I don't want to lose the connection with my brothers and sisters that we have, because we're close now, but we don't know like where we're going to be, if we're going to move away and not be close together. They're kind of like not good communicators, so like if I don't see them or make an effort, we won't see each other for like weeks or months. So
are you the one that keeps everybody together?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll caution you, you do need to prepare yourself for that, right? Or figure out ways of how you will cope during those times.
Yeah.
If their behavior is to not keep in touch, then would it be safe to understand and realize that assuming that they are going to is probably setting yourself up for unhappiness?
Yeah.
Right.
My brothers are kind of, they just don't, like, they're just kind of in their own world type of thing, so, yeah.
And that could be a gender thing, but it also could be a people thing. I mean, I've got I got one side of my family who never keeps in touch, right? And certain people are the only ones who reach out. And I'm sure a lot of you others here on the Hangout could probably share similar stories where some of you do that. So, you know, I don't want to say I'm giving you advice, but it's what helps in recognizing, and all of you can benefit from this, in identifying what you're fearful of, because what she really described were her fears.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they really were. I don't want to be unhappy. I don't want to lose, touch with my family. I want to keep them together. Your family is so important to you.
Yeah.
Right? So when you go back to that wheel of life, you can look at, keeping your wheel balanced so that some of your concentration is on family, but then all the other pieces has as much equal concentration as you can provide or give it, right?
Yeah.
But identifying what you're concerned, fearful, or worried about will help you develop, which we'll talk about later on as a trigger list. It'll help you identify how you change your thinking around that so that you will achieve success, and what that translates for you is happiness.
Yeah.
You ideally want to be connected with that feeling of happiness. So while we don't dwell on all those negative things, or try not to, or we counter them, right?
Yeah.
They are there and you're aware of them. So which means you can help yourself navigate. Always remember that. No matter what anybody else does, you can, and you have the power to help yourself navigate through that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Genesis, how about you?
In my circle, I wrote, I want a college degree, a good career, to have savings, and to have a family. And then on the outside, I wrote, I don't want debt, I don't want a lot of stress, and I don't want health problems.
Right. And where is your concern of health problems coming from?
I don't know, I guess a lot of people in my family tend to be sick a lot of the time.
Yeah. Okay.
Like diabetes, cancer, etc.
Okay. Well, as we go through the lessons of positive mental attitude, thinking on those things that we do want, you're going to find how powerful that law of attraction is and the universal laws that apply to everything. So keep that in mind. Keep some of those ideas in mind when you're going through that so that you can counter those thoughts. The more weight and time that you spend in thinking on the positive and not worrying about getting cancer. I mean, I've been there. My mom had her hysterectomy, and because I dwelled on it my entire life, I had cancer and had everything removed by 2008. So I can give you countless examples of the power of our thought and our mind, and speak from experience of being able to transfer and change that thought pattern and thought process, rather than dwelling on what we're so fearful and afraid of, to thinking of what we want to achieve. And that's really what a lot of the next couple weeks is about. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it one more person to share? Anybody like to share? And we'll move on. Nope. No takers? Okay. No, I said no more snacks. Nope. The next example is the next tactic we're going to talk about is the mind map. Once again, I want you to use that stream of conscious writing, so try not to second guess yourself or question what you're writing, or I can't do that, or that's not right, or worrying about what somebody else might be writing. We talk about that especially in our group setting when we have our teens and our girls in the program, so that they feel that their own uniqueness and their own ideas are okay, and that they're their ideas, and they need to be in touch with that and not worry about what other people are going to write, or how other people define each of these three categories. The categories are around health and wellness and fitness, which can be comprised of your own general health, your own general well-being, whether that's mental, spiritual, medically speaking, or your exercise. Personal is going to be more about what's important to you. It could be values, it could be morals, it could be how you spend your time. It could be what you choose to do with your time, meaning your passions, the experiences you want to. I got passions actually as number 3. So you can put your passions in that category of passion, and then when it comes to personal, this could be with your relationships. It could be what types of goals or things you want to pursue in life. Does that make sense? So what you're going to do is you're going to draw write some words that correspond with what these 3 categories mean to you, and then we're going to share those.
Hey, Melinda, you're like keep cutting in and out, so I'm not sure what I don't know if it's my internet connection or all of us combined, but I like can't hear anything that you're saying.
Earlier, when I was describing the mind map?
Yeah, you just were talking, it was going really, really slow and like cutting in and out. So I don't know, like I said, I don't know if it's my connection or
Okay,
what.
I need to know if everybody else had the problem.
I had no problem.
Okay, so then it is probably your connection. And remember, you guys, you need to stop me and tell me if you can't hear me. Like, just like raise your hand and say, I can't hear. I can read lips. So, because sometimes that happens. I keep talking and talking, and then you guys are like, I don't know, I didn't hear you. So just please let me know, and I don't mind interrupting me. That's okay. I won't take offense to that. So, Kathy, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so what I explained to the group about these 3 sections, if the directions didn't make sense to you on the written form, I just elaborated more about how this exercise is designed to do we do it with groups with the young girls, and we really encourage the young girls to come up with their own ideas, and you guys are all individuals and adults pretty much, so it doesn't necessarily apply, but I reiterated that it's important to just really think about what these 3 categories, health and wellness could be around fitness, your passions are, that's pretty self-explanatory. Personal can be like the relationships, your values, your morals, what's important to you in life, your goals, the direction. And what this exercise is designed to is just really get you more in touch with the description and details of each of these categories. What we're doing is we're building, taking building steps or, steps to bye, baby. Steps to take all of this information that you've discovered about yourself and put it into a form of a vision board as well as a SMART goals. I just need you to write down. I want you to write down some words and or phrases that are meaningful to you that represent these 3 categories.
Okay.
These 3 categories end up translating when you get ready to do your vision board in the future. They're going to translate to that. Usually, I recommend breaking it down to three sections on a poster board. So that's kind of circles or sections represent. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
I could hear you loud and perfect that time.
Okay. I'm sorry about that. Okay. All right. So, Isha, or if you're done, why don't you go ahead and share with our group so we can move right along?
Yeah. So first is health, right? Like health and fitness. What does it mean to me? And
yep.
So for me, it's like balancing out. You can have like the first thing which came to my mind was like cheat day and not cheat day, like balancing it out. It's not that I'm going to starve myself and like be like, okay, that's it. I don't want to be a Victoria's Secret model or something. But it's like you have to balance everything out. For me, health is my mind and health is my body. It comes before anything else. Anything else. So I think, yeah, health is something very important. Second is personal. What the first thing which came to my mind was family, and to be an individual. If someone talks about me someday to someone, they must they should just say that, oh yeah, she was very independent and very, she has her own personality, like very standout personality. So I think these two things are very important. Family is of course very personal. I can do anything for them, and I'm sure vice versa. But I think these two things are very personal. To me. Passion, I'm very passionate about working. Like I'm not over ambitious, but I am ambitious. I want certain things in my life, and I'm very passionate about interiors also. This is like new aspect of my life. I like doing things at my home, and I love organizing.
Okay, so go back. I didn't hear your second passion.
Interiors, interior decoration.
Interior design. Okay, decoration. Yes, gotcha. Okay.
Like I like doing certain things. Yeah. I'm not very girly, but sometimes some things I really like girly. Like I like decorating house, and it should be very. I have little OCD. I won't lie.
But I can relate to all of that.
And organizing. I like things to be very proper.
Good
so
for you.
Like my passion.
All right, good. Thanks for sharing. Valerie, would you like to share?
Sure. Health and fitness. There's a couple of different components. One is physical, and one is mental, and one is spiritual. If you want to talk balance. And my mental health, I am working on right now. Even in this program, I am working on this.
Great.
We all have challenges in life, so mental health is very important to me, and I think this and other tools are going to assist me in becoming more balanced. Mm-hmm. Physical fitness is very important to me right now, since I had cancer earlier this year, and now am, thank you God, cancer-free. But it's made me realize how unhealthy I had become physically. Mm-hmm. So fitness, strength, stamina, all those things. And I used to be a gymnast many, many years ago. So I was accustomed to being a very athletic person, and have not been for the last decade or so. So okay. Those items are very important to me. On the personal front, I wanted to talk about relationships. Creating healthier relationships, letting go of less healthy or toxic relationships. And I also want to create a bucket list of things that I personally would like to experience in my lifetime. Also, I'd want to be, my set of morals and values are very important to me, because I see our country losing what was so great about it, and I would like to be an inspiration by example. And I think of myself, I'm so humble, I think of myself as like, wow, I can't be that example. But when you look around, I actually, am actually a superior person, and want to lead by example and be a positive influence in others' lives.
Wonderful.
Anybody who even walks by me, experiences me, whether it's the guy at, in the support desk on the phone, to the guy, someone down the street. My passion in life is finding purpose. But I do share a passion about the home with Isha. I was laughing because I was like, I'm totally into home decor and improvement, and I'm a good nester. I like, as much as I like to get out and about, actually in latter years I've been much more involved in making my home a home and a place where I want to be, and entertaining a little bit more, because I have a tendency to get nervous about that, but I'm passionate about it, and I do that a little bit. So
great.
Those are my circles.
That's great. And remember, all this stuff you're writing down, you're thinking and stirring up ideas and thoughts, it's all going to be useful as you continue building in this program onto it. Really quick, I know somebody wrote to me in their reflection that they wanted to know why Girls in Power was started. And I'm just going to take a couple moments to share. Some of you may already know. A lot of times I talk about this in the interview process. Some of you may have read the story or not. But you know, I guess the simple reason is I didn't want anybody else to have to suffer. I wanted to be able to share the information that I learned from several decades of hardships and therapy and working with doctors and on medications, off medications, being an addict for years to becoming sober for almost 10 years now, to literally reprogramming my brain. So, you know, suffering as a child is one thing. Continuing to suffer in your adulthood, even in young adulthood, is extremely damaging and really makes it difficult to succeed, meaning to obtain things or to just remain unhappy. And quite frankly, by '08, my last suicide attempt, after it was like the fifth one, I was really tired of going to that dark place, and almost like a knee-jerk reaction of really, wanting to not suffer anymore. And so I really had to take ownership by that point, pardon me, and decide that it was really my choice. I kind of figured out, had a couple of doctors at that point that really I wasn't able to, do smoke and mirrors with, and really wasn't able to put my happy face on and pretend anymore. Landing up in a lockdown facility, by choice. Mind you, nobody put me there. I've been smart enough to stay ahead of the game and be proactive enough to seek out the proper help, but I still led a life of I guess, hiding behind the mask and pretending to most people, not feeling like I could share, not feeling like I could be myself. And I think that a lot of you might understand as a young person, when you're young, growing up, that our society does not necessarily cultivate an opportunity for girls to speak their mind, for girls to share that they may be depressed or anxious, to share that they may be less than or they're flawed. Even though those aren't flaws, those are just challenges and afflictions that we need to overcome. And my faith had been strong as a little girl. I talked to God since I was 4 or 5 years old, and He was the only person I talked to. And since then, my relationship with Him has evolved into a more intimate relationship. And primarily, He is the one that I spend 90% of my day talking to still. But because of all the skills that I learned and the decision of becoming sober, the decision of not wanting to ever think about taking my life again, that became most important for me to overcome. And this program is comprised of all of the tools that I have been taught, what I did is I just packaged them together in a format and started teaching it in such a way with the things that I lacked: love, support, nurture, compassion, empathy, and also realized that in order for us to succeed too, our relationships are very critical and important. Boundaries, limits. And in order to have those successful relationships and boundaries and limits, in order for us to feel like a whole, confident, capable, valued human being, right? Worthy human being, it starts with us. It starts with our mind. It starts with the boundaries that we draw, the limits that we set, with what we're not going to tolerate or what we are. We have the choice. We have the choice to change our negative thoughts into positive thoughts, which brings us to our next lesson here, into identifying what are those negative thoughts, going on. What is the tape recorder? I lived with a tape recorder going on in my life well up until, like, I don't know, maybe 2009. It was probably one of the first times that my head became silent. It took me that long to quiet the brain, and that was such a surreal experience to have my brain not have that chatter. So wherever you are in your walk in life, wherever you are, whether that's a really big problem or a little bit of problem, this program is very effective if you use it. You just have to do the steps. All of these exercises that we do from week to week build on each other. And if you continue to do them for the rest of your life, some you will become second nature to you. But it's your choice, and it does take dedication. It does take hard work to overcome that negative talk. Does that make sense?
Yeah, was there one thing that you said 2009, you kind of identified a time period. Was there one thing that worked for you, that clicked, or was
combination of medication? I was diagnosed with all kinds of mental disorders, and in reality, I think a lot of people are walking through life with those diagnoses and don't actually realize that they don't have to have that diagnosis to get well, that they can actually change and reprogram their brain so much. If you just understand one fact, that our body continues to reproduce itself, your eyeballs, your liver, your stomach, your brain does as well, but the brain is one of the longest organs it takes to reproduce. A combination of life experience, what you put into your body, okay, whether that's medication, whether that's food, water, and your life experience will reprogram your brain. So it takes a little bit of while. Now, my process of doing that actually happened quite rapidly. Once I figured out and stumbled on certain things that I'm teaching you that actually worked for me, such as the countering the negative thoughts with counter positive thoughts, with understanding the root of where some of my limiting beliefs were coming, I was able to undo those. I was an anorexic my entire life. I don't live like that anymore. I don't pinch and squeeze myself and worry about it. I don't obsess over what I look like. I mean, that was with me for 30-something years. But at some point, I was able to start working on, and it's a combination of understanding what your value is, writing down what your skill sets are, identifying what triggers you to be upset. So all of these things I've put together in here, they all work together. So it is not one thing. I do believe that there are points in our life where we meet people, where we come across a situation that I used to call my angels, and that's why we have mentors in the program to represent that another person can change and be pivotal in the direction and in the point of which we're going. So we may be walking down a path, but that person comes into our life, and if you're open, and if you're looking for answers, and if you're wanting that to know what your purpose is, that's what I was on a mission for my entire life. All this suffering had to be used. I believed that at some point I would be granted an understanding what my purpose is. Now, so with that being said, these people that come into your life, be open and understanding that they do, because if you go back and you look at it 2 years from now about that person that came into your life, you're going to see how they changed and impacted your world and moved your course that you were on. And that can be for positive or negative, right? So that's what when I refer to the angels, I've talked, in my book or the radio shows, that's what I'm referring to, are those people. I do believe I've been more fortunate than other people with having the right type of advisors and doctors. But I believe that's because my quest, despite how bad it was from my perspective of thinking how bad it was growing up in the home that I was growing up with, and I was raped several times. So all of those traumas, I believed and looked for answers, and I did not blame anybody. I worked on forgiveness and grace because I knew that if I harbored anger and frustration and towards people, I would be living a victim life, and I don't want to live that way. And so that's really, too, what our program is about, is to help you get out of that victim mentality, the poor me, negative thinking, and harness, why you're so great, because you each are. You each have unique abilities and greatness within you. You each have a set of skills, right? So just remember that's why the program's been created. There is a reason why I'm having you go through these exercises. As simple or as stupid as they may seem in the moment, there is a reason. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's shift gears here, and I really, this is a time where we need to be open with each other if you can. I'm not going to push anybody, but that there is a tape recorder that some of us have. If you're fortunate to not have one, God bless you. You're lucky. You're the lucky one. But I wasn't so fortunate. The tape recorder could be anything like I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not capable, nobody really likes me, I don't have any friends. A lot of that's all irrational thinking, and it all stems from our upbringing, the 0 to 10-year mark of imprints that were mapped in us subconsciously and consciously because of our experience with who we were around at that moment. And so those things can be undone. It does take a lot of time and effort. So those are some of my negative thoughts. When I was thin, I still thought I was fat. Now, I could look at myself and go, okay, you're being ridiculous. But that's not the point. The point is that it's so much deeper, that the reality was that I wasn't happy with myself because I felt I wasn't good enough. So instead of somebody else picking on me, right, picking out my flaws, I was picking out my own flaws constantly to where it becomes debilitating. And then all it took was one person to say something really stupid to me that reiterated I wasn't good enough and that I wanted to end my life. Makes no sense when you speak of it rationally, right? And it didn't happen quite that simply, right? There was probably a lot going on in my life, like dealing with health issues, poor relationships, feeling the victim, being abused, you name it, that led me down that path. But I don't have to do that anymore. So whoever would like to share first, I don't want to call on you. I really want you guys to be proactive here and be willing to share, not just for yourself, but actually more so that other people can hear that they're not alone with how they think. Anybody want to go first?
Oh, well, I'll go first.
Thank you.
I'll
Thank
go.
you, Valerie.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. Okay, I'll just go with it.
Go ahead, Valerie.
Off the top of my head, would you like me to say some of my recordings?
Yep, some of your negative self-critic, the recording.
I am my worst critic. 10,000 people can tell me I'm brilliant and talented and creative. And the one person, and I will give you the example, as my ex-husband did not give me, I had written a children's book. This is a long, long time ago.
Oh, wow.
But I had written a children's book, and I was trying to emulate like a Dr. Seuss, rhyming, and I had written it with a girlfriend, and everyone had given me totally great positive. It was still needed to be massaged and polished. But I let my ex-husband read it, and I now have forgotten exactly what he said, but it was not encouraging.
Okay.
But a host of other people had said to me, it's wonderful, great idea, it's so creative.
Right.
And I did not hear any one of those.
Yep.
I heard that my ex, who was very important to me, of course, he was my partner, he was my beloved, he was my husband.
Sure.
I expected some encouragement and support, and instead it was
criticism.
It was belittled, and it was made to feel like nothing, no accomplishment at all.
Right.
That's the one I chose to hear, and I abandoned it, and that was in 1988. I remember. So, but I hear that I am not, have no value. Let's put it that way. I have no value. And that's a big one for me if you just want to go with one, because there's many.
And we know by looking at your resume and what you've shared in the past that you do have skills. You have skills which make you, and you're a mother who's raised children. So those are some of the things about. Well, thank you for sharing. Isha, would you like to share?
Well, back in India, I never had such any problem with coming up to me or saying something bad or something like that. But I still remember when I'd first come here in US. I made a couple of friends, and you live in a community, you make friends and all of that. And I used to talk to them, but sometimes I used to feel that they're judging me, because we speak British English in India. And here, of course, you guys speak a different kind of language, a different kind of English. I mean to say, we use some of the words differently in India.
Yep.
for example, shifting and moving and all of that. So while I was talking to them, and I still remember we were baking a cake or something like that, and I was just, because I'm very new to cooking, I didn't know how to cook, and I was just asking one of my friends that, hey, do we put this color on the chocolate? And she looked at me and said, you don't know anything, right? Like you people don't know anything. And it didn't hit me that time, but when I came home and I was like, what did she say? Like, why didn't I react to it? I could have just said something and it could have just come out of me like that,
Right.
I'm really not as fluent as they are. Or, I don't know a lot of things, but it's not that I don't know nothing.
Right.
And coming from a country where we speak a different, we speak differently. So that hit me a lot. And for a long time, I used to be so upset, because you cannot talk to them, and while you're talking to them, you're constantly thinking in your head and you're fumbling, and your confidence level has just gone down.
Right. So you're feeling judged by other people and how they're and I also would like you to share, because I know in your weekly reflection you did. Sometimes it's not what others are saying to us that's making us feel bad. Sometimes it's a negative thought that we're putting on ourselves because of fears.
Yeah.
That we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing, right? Or we're not going to achieve something. So remember that can, quantify and qualify in that that arena, that negative talk, because those are true negative thoughts that need to be reversed
and
or countered.
Introspect myself, and I was like, when I talk to any stranger, if I'm talking to somebody else, I'm as fluent as you guys are. But if I'm talking to them, I was just thinking and fumbling. You know how it becomes, like, you don't know, are they judging me? Are they not judging me? You think about yourself a lot. And
Right.
I think then I took a time off. I was like, I was not meeting them as often as I would. And
Sure.
then after that, when they met me, I was like, I don't care if they're judging me. If they want to be my friend, they are going to be my friends. If not, then yeah, it's okay. It's their loss, not mine.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for sharing. Carly?
What came to my mind when we were talking about this was that I was in a relationship when I was 15 for 5 years, and it was kind of like, it was not a good relationship, but I didn't realize it because I was so young. And when we broke up, I had a time where I was by myself, and then I met my boyfriend now, about a year and a half ago. And the things that come up a lot are the negative self-talks from my first relationship.
Right.
Like, if I wasn't good enough for him, stuff that comes up now is like, I think in my head that I'm not good enough, but my boyfriend now tries to, like, remind me that I am good enough. But, like, that negative talk comes up constantly.
Right. But where I would like you to get the strong place that you'll need to be, and hopefully, you can continue practicing things, what you learn here in this training over the next few weeks as you carry it on, is that be careful. I mean, important for you to learn how to elevate yourself again and not rely on your boyfriend to elevate it, because in fact he's enabling and becoming a codependent. You need to discover your own brilliance, your own skills, your own reasons why you're valued, why you're worthy, why you're important, and why he loves you.
Yeah.
It's very important that you identify and not rely on a dependence of him to affirm your importance.
Yeah.
Because I can promise you that will fail you in years to come.
Yeah.
So, when in this exercise, you guys, there's two parts to it. The first part is to identify the negative critic, the different thoughts you have, and maybe not do it all at once. Maybe start thinking and trying to become aware in the moment of your day when you hear those statements in your head, and then go back and write them. So you can do one of two ways. You can write them all down now. You can add to them later. You can wait and simmer on it, maybe write one or two, and then watch yourself, become an observer of yourself over the next several days, and make sure you're including as many as you can. And then I suggest you take some of those statements, write them down on the next exercise, which is limiting versus empowering beliefs. And it's really important that these are an I am statements. If it's I am worthless, or I am a victim, or I am not good enough, that those statements need to be changed into something, first of all, that resonates with you. That's one of the most important things, meaning I could tell you what I logically think an I am counter statement would be, but I want you to adopt it and it be right for you, because you're going to write these on index cards. You're going to put them as reminders that pop up on your phone and your calendar for several days, for months, if need be, until you're not hearing that one anymore, or you're intuitively and instinctively repeating the counter statement to yourself in the moment. As soon as you go to you go from an irrational thought to a rational thought, you'll be able to be more effective and efficient and conquer much more in your day, conquer your goals, become successful, feel like you're overcoming, you're not defeated or deflated by that voice who's something, it's either something from your past, it's a person from your past, an experience that you had, or something that you adopted of yourself from your environment. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I would really like you guys to share these with me this week. Once you've finished the worksheet, please feel free to share them with me. And part of why I'm asking you to do that is to hold you accountable. I'll be quite honest. It's not that I don't believe you won't do it. I do believe you'll do it. I hope you see the value in doing it, right? But sharing it with me will help you affirm to yourself that this is really important to you. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Okay. So, and then if you have any questions about those statements, just let me know. Now, part of the segment that we do with the young girls in our program is we always do building body confidence. I'll just talk really quickly about this. This is a very simple exercise. All you're doing is writing down positive attributes that you believe of yourself. In other words, we're not thinking negatively, obviously. These building blocks are to be all positive words that make you feel awesome and great. And I want you to print this sheet out, write it out, and stick it on your billboard or stick it in your mirror. And I want you to start, getting in the habit of visually focusing on that and reminding yourself how great you are and how confident you are. Does that make sense? Yeah? Easy one. Okay, then the next sheet I want you to use is the beginning of our building our daily habits in. Eventually you're going to take these daily habits that are associated with what you're going to be tracking, that are associated with your SMART goals that you set for yourself. So for right now, if you need help, suggestions, I'll first just tell you, write down, the 3 things that you're grateful for as one of your daily habits, right? The next thing, because you may have noticed in your wheel of life, the priorities that may be off, right, that you want to start concentrating more on or try to bring more balance, maybe write 1 or 2 daily habits that are associated with each of those pie sections that you want to be spending more time in. In other words, make yourself consciously aware and put forth the effort that's where your focus and your mind wants to be. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the iPhones are great for all of these things and techniques and tools. I have reminders on my phone that say things at different intervals throughout the day that say things like be still, invite the Lord to control your thoughts. That's one that I use. I think I also have my quiet time to be still. I also have step into your greatness. And so I've put these throughout my phone. If you've got a countering statement, a new I am statement that you want to use, put it on your phone, especially if it's something that's if you have a prevalent negative statement. I encourage you to, if you have an iPhone or a smartphone, use it. It's a great time to utilize that and blend it in if you're not carrying around note cards in your purse or your wallet, or put them up in your car and your dashboard. That's how I started reprogramming myself, was literally having it everywhere. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So then the last thing is just to do your weekly reflection for me before next week. So you're going to use your reflection as time to look back on this week, right? So you can do it Sunday and submit it to me Sunday night, if possible. You can also do it Saturday, just before our meeting on Monday. And our meeting will resume back at 11. What time do we have, 11:30?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And everybody's still good for that time, correct?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I really appreciate you guys being open and honest and candid. That way, all of us can, relate and not feel alone. I remember when I was in a group setting, whether it was a Bible study or some other women's thing, that was part of my healing process and part of my recognizing that I didn't have to be afraid of sharing and I didn't have to be alone in my suffering. So I give you, kudos to you guys for showing up today, number one, for doing the work, number two, and for being honest with everybody here that can benefit from it.
You too.
Can I also, Melinda, just say thank you to you
Exactly.
for being a mentor to all of us, using your very special skills and knowledge. I very much appreciate that. Very.
It's not easy to share what you did. So.
Yeah, you're right. Well, I think part of my process and growth had been me being able to share it and having a platform to share. And so, I don't, like I said, I think forgiveness and grace played a tremendous role in me being able to reveal what happened to me. In other words, having forgiveness for my parents and rebuilding that relationship, learning how to define my boundaries with other people. Because I don't think if I had done those things, I could actually share. Does that make sense? So, yeah, so the program really works, but I'm really glad that you guys listened to me and heard me, and I appreciate your support and letting me share with you, and just appreciate you showing up because these training modules are designed to help other people as well. They'll be used for future training sessions, so that you all are part of the cog on the wheel. You're all part of this process in building Girls in Power and spreading the word and spreading what we do. So thank you, and I hope you all have a blessed week. And I look forward to reading your reflections. Keep up your journaling, okay?
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.